Good afternoon, everyone. The time is now. All right, a little technical difficulty taken care of. Okay, time is now 4:08. Today is Monday, March 18th. This is the Education and Economic Development Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. There's a copy of this agenda and it can be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. I would ask that everyone at this time please silence your phones and electronic devices and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator Stenenga, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kelly, roll call, please.
Here. Present.
Donald. Paduk.
Here.
Skevich.
Here.
Sassy.
Here.
Leander.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
President Lance.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Okay, first up, Dr. Christine Young, President of Orange County Community College. Paul G. Martland, Vice President of Administration and Finance for Orange County Community College. Item 1 is Orange County Community College requests that the Orange County Legislature authorize the college to develop and implement one-time voluntary early retirement plans in both the Orange County Community College Faculty Association and the Staff and Chair Association of Orange County Community College. Legislative request number 057. May I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Lujan and Stenenga, welcome. You're up.
Great.
We all just heard this. It passed unanimously through both joint committees, so let's do it again for this one for the record.
We're on a word count.
Got it. Thank you, Chairman Uda. As you are aware then, the college has reason and motivation to have an early retirement incentive to improve its financial position. So we appreciate your consideration of that. And we're in a strong position with fund balance at this time to affect that. So if you require any more information, I would pass it to Paul Martland.
30-second version of my previous presentation. There is no cost to the county for this. It is a step in the labor relations process, which keeps us flexible for the future if we did have to go through some kind of a retrenchment activity. The proposal is the product of collaboration with the leadership of both the Staff Chair Association and the Faculty Association. And we hope that the proposal would result in a cost of $1 million or less, which has been authorized by our board out of our fund balance, and that the return in year one would be somewhere between $1.25 million and $1.7 million, depending on the specific people who choose to take advantage of it. And we feel this would be very helpful in addressing the structural deficit that we continue to face. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Everyone here was at the previous meetings. Any questions, concerns? No? Okay. We need a roll call vote or just voice vote? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number B, presentation of the college's performance against FY 23-24 budget and update on the status of the college's FY 24-25 budget. Motion second.
So moved. Second.
Duke and Lujan, floor is yours.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. Last month you heard largely like good news programmatic stuff from me. This will be Paul's presentation largely since it's the financial side, review of the performance in the current fiscal year. And then looking ahead to next year as we begin to prepare for next year. Briefly from me, as we look ahead to next year, you know, our revenue drivers, as was alluded to, you've got three main legs on that stool are students via tuition. You have the county, which is your piece, and the state. So soon we'll be asking as part of this presentation, I think, for your opinion on where the students might fall in tuition increases or not this year. The county piece comes a little bit later. The state update is this. I want to remind you how hard your trustees have been working with advocacy on the state, as well as a lot of groups at the college, including the president's group, The trustees and the presidents have been extraordinarily active this year with advocacy. Trustee Waddell and I were in DC, even at the federal level, working at the federal level, but at the state level with Relentless this year, working in Albany, locally. Some of you went out visiting with us, and now we're to the point where we've seen the executive budget and each of the one House bills. The good news is that once again, the floor that was put in by the executive appears in both the Senate one House bill and the Assembly bill, which means that kind of that mirror of the county's approach, so that we won't fall below the state's position in the previous year. That's there in all three places. So that's good news. Unfortunately, it continues to mirror the previous year, which was the previous year, which was a COVID year, which is whatever, but at least there's a fail-safe, right? The trustees and the presidents and other groups have done a ton of work advocating for $97 million. You will recall $97 million representing what it would take for the state to equal what all of our sponsors do together, what all the counties do together. That would just level up so that the state was doing its third. At this time, I expressed frustration that has not appeared in any way, shape, or form. The Assembly seems to maybe have done the best by adding about $8 million explicitly for community colleges. That's $8 million for 30 community colleges. The Senate put in $100 million for all of SUNY. So there's a question mark over how would that be distributed across 64 SUNY colleges, which include university centers. So we are all still in the throes of advocating and trying to make our case. I assure you, that's where my spare time is going at this time, to try to continue to advocate for the state's fair share of what you all are doing at this time. So that's where we are. But I'm starting to have diminished hope about this, certainly the state getting to its $97 million to level up with all of you. That's where I see that part of your presentation going this year, but we're continuing to contact them, and certainly our representatives in the Mid-Hudson are reachable and doing all they can, and have found programmatic pieces for us that are not part of that piece for me.
Okay.
Questions? Comments? Thank you both very much for being here. I'd also like to recognize both Board of Trustees, Mel and Martucci.
Actually,
Thank you for being here.
There's a presentation.
Oh, we got a full presentation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's what we set up.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
I know I'm dull. but-
All right. No. Not to be intended that way. Okay, so.
So I'd just like to remind people, this meeting took place a year ago for the first time, and it really grew out of frustrations both by the legislators and by the college that we didn't have any interaction to talk about the financial performance and what was leading into the new budget until our budget was finalized and your CPA firm had reviewed it. So last year, we had a presentation in March that we were able to give actual results for the first 6 months and pretty good projections for the rest of the full fiscal year. And I think all involved felt it was appropriate. So that's what we're doing here again. Where do we stand after 6 months? What are we projecting for the full fiscal years? What are the drivers for revenue and expense variances? And then where do we stand with the 24-25 budget process? So just a reminder, the budget year that we're in, we had projected an enrollment up of 5%, tuition up 2%, county support was generously up 6%, state support was flat, and we hit the contractual salary increases. And of course, we were authorized to use $2.9 million in fund balance to achieve the balanced budget.
Chairman, if I may.
You may.
Paul, could you just go back real quick?
Certainly.
And to Dr. Young's point, and I don't want to correct a college
administrator. However, as we see here on this chart, you mentioned the three legs of a stool. Clearly, the legs of the stool are not balanced. There are two legs that have always held up the stool, and that, of course, have been the students through their financial contribution and tuition, and the county, as you can see, where the support is up 6%. And I think you should use capital letters on that state support and a big fat F for flat. So, where we are stepping up year in and year out, and the students continually carry the load. It's the state, and as you mentioned in your comments, Dr. Young, it's almost as if deaf ears exist in Albany. So let's fix that stool and let's portray it for what it really is. It's unbalanced. Thank you, Chairman.
It's shameful.
Okay, we digress, but thank you. Point taken. Please continue.
Okay, so after 6 months, we have the year-to-date actual results and the year-to-date budget results and the variance results. On the revenue side, we're plus $1.2 million compared to budget. On the expense side, our expenses are $444,000 less. So net, we are improved over the budget of 1.7 million, which would suggest we could all sit back and relax a little bit. The unfortunate thing is, as you will recall, revenue collection is skewed in the first 6 months. So we have received almost all of the revenue that we're going to get from tuition for, obviously for fall, pretty much all of spring. So the only thing that's not in there yet is summer. And yet the expenses are spread across the whole year. So the 6 month year to date suggests we're doing well, and we're living up to our budgetary commitments, but it doesn't tell the full story. So this is our projection as of the last day of February for the full year, and you will see that the revenues we're projecting of about $1 million, just under $1.5 million, and the expenses are actually a little higher than budget, to the tune of almost 560,000, which leads us to a revenue minus expenses, a shortage of 2 million as opposed to 2.9 million, which was budgeted. So we're ahead by 923,000, as I mentioned in the earlier discussion. So that's positive. The drivers on the revenue side, predominantly tuition, through the fact that our actual enrollment is up well beyond the 5% that we had included. The investment income has been higher than budgeted. And I wanted to put this one up because I know this is an area of concern for folks at the county, that our non-credit programming is picking up, and you can see that it's not huge dollars in terms of the excess over the budget, but it's worth note. And some of you have had the opportunity to interact with our new Vice President of Workforce Strategy and Innovation, Dr. John Leandre. He has hit the ground running, and I think he is really establishing himself and listening to what's needed in the county for workforce development programming. And not only are we seeing, an increase over what we budgeted for this year, but we're also able to project a sizable increase in revenues from that part of the college. So that John's hire has been a real boon to the college. On the expense side, it's primarily explained the variance by retirement costs being higher than projected, and retiree health insurance, we took a big hit on in terms of the increase that went into effect in January. So where are we in the budget timeline? We had our preliminary discussions, the board's audit and finance committee, both Chair Tucci and Vice Chair Waddell are on that committee. Tom is the chair. Worked very closely with myself and the finance group at the college throughout the budget process. So we started those discussions in earnest at the last meeting in March. We're giving you a preliminary update today. Hopefully New York will approve the budget in April. We're hopeful from the news that the president has provided, it doesn't sound like that's gonna do much for us, but nevertheless. Tuition and fees need to be approved at the April board meeting, so we will be making recommendations to the board for that meeting. The college budget is then finalized in May. And your auditors do their thing in June and July. And we have the presentation sometime usually in late July. And hopefully the budget approval in the first week in August. And then we submit it to SUNY by mid-August, and they approve it at the September SUNY Board of Trustees meeting. So it's a lengthy process to get through all of this, but you've all lived through it many times, so I don't think there's anything new up there.
Legislator Lamont.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Correct, did I hear that there might be a possibility that we might be increasing tuition? Or is that not?
Well, I think it's coming on the next
Okay.
slide.
Always a possibility.
Yeah. We'll get to that in just a second. Current status of the budget. We always do sort of a first take in the finance office, just based on what the various parts of the college are looking for. And that showed a loss of about $3.5 million. We've worked with the departments and amongst ourselves and with Chris's guidance and the other VPs. We've worked that projected loss down to about 2.3 million. As you know, we'll be moving forward now with, assuming the full legislature approves, with the early retirement, which will eat up a goodly portion of that. And then we continue to fine tune the budget expenses, and particularly vacancy management is what gets us over the hump at the end. And that's always an elaborate process of the college, but we get there. And some of the factors impacting, enrollment's the biggie. We're again projecting a 5% increase. Last 3 semesters, we've outpaced that rather significantly. If that trend continues, that certainly helps the budget side.
And I'll note that when we talk about enrollment, we're talking about the credit side,
Yeah.
which may become an interesting conversation as we move forward with our success on the non-credit side, on the workforce side.
The preliminary number that we put in on the non-credit side for revenue is $1 million compared to significantly less than half of that for this year with the original budget. And I'm confident that we will get there. State support, we'll know it when the budget's approved. I know the legislature is in the midst of reviewing and approving the recent CSEA contract. That will have an impact on us once we know the actual final details. Tuition, the 5-year plan that we submitted, that's in the budget book at the end of last year, does include small tuition increases each year in the 5 years, but that is just a projection. The tuition increase that is in that document for this year is 2%, but we have not made any recommendation to the board yet as to what should be. One of the reasons we have this meeting is to get the sense of the committee as to what you'd like to see us do. I think I can probably predict what you'd like to see us do. And then before we have that conversation, the one other item here is the fund balance status, which fortunately is strong. And we did just complete our audit for the fiscal 22-23 year. And we did discover a journal entry error. Fortunately, it was in the right direction though. So our fund balance is up $400,000 more than we thought it was going to be as a result of this was an error that occurred during a transition period in staffing. So it was, it's unfortunate that it happened, but it's fortunate that it's in the right direction. So that gives us a little more comfort as we approach these issues.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
The tuition last year, was a 2% increase as well, or that was?
Yeah, it was 2 last year.
And you still got more people coming to college?
Correct.
So you're figuring that 2% might work the same way or might make it, you never know, right? That's the
You
question.
never know, and, obviously, community college students, tend to have financial difficulties. So 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be meaningful to an individual.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we do have, Pell Grants to take care of those in most need, and we do have the scholarship programs. So we sort of have to balance this every year. But we felt, when we put the 5-year projections together, we felt that 2% was meaningful but not overburdensome. But again, that's not, nothing has been even recommended yet.
And you didn't think that keeping it flat might make some more people come, gee, there's no increase this year?
There is that possibility.
The thought that we saw actually in reality being very high in cost, Dutchess, Ulster, Sullivan, in Orange County being higher in Rockland County. We had the largest increase of people in enrollment. So we did get the enrollment even though our tuition went up 2%. So the 2% was $102, right? In tuition. That's what it rated out to.
Yeah, so that's.
Over the entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a full-time student, 30 credit hours over an entire year is $102.
Good, great. Let's say Luhan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in comparison, when we're looking at the other counties, how do our tuition compare to those other counties? Because that would be the other question.
Our tuition is the highest of the Hudson Valley colleges. Now, just looking at the tuition piece doesn't always tell the whole story because there's not a standard fee structure in the New York community colleges, so you have to delve in a little more to see what the actual total cost is. But we are somewhat higher. On the other hand, as difficult as it is to increase the burden on the students, we have a responsibility to make sure that the college is there. And as I'm sure you're aware, some of the colleges in the region are facing pretty significant financial difficulties because they haven't made these decisions. So it's not an easy one to make, and certainly the board will not take it lightly.
Just to dovetail that, do you feel, would it be appropriate to theorize that we're higher because we've taken care of our own home, maintain what you need, and the other colleges may not have done the hard work of raising those on a timely manner? Does that make sense?
That is our feeling, that we have addressed issues earlier than some of the others. And so, yes, their tuition numbers are lower, but their financial position is worse.
That's what I was gathering, and thanks for validating.
It's a balancing act.
If I may, there's one,
Yes, Doctor.
not that you want to put this on someone else, but the one place where it looks like the state may come through with resources is with the TAP program, so the state equivalent of Pell, if you will. And so it seems that where there's been energy on the state side is to move the TAP program from a family contribution of $80,000, where a student becomes eligible instead of at $80,000, I think they're looking at $125,000, where it's been stuck for a long, long time. So they're expecting to move family eligibility up quite a bit this year, and that the amount of resource given to a student also goes up, which would well exceed our tuition point. So that might, any movement that we have in our tuition would be covered. So more families eligible and our tuition would be covered.
And just to clarify that, the higher rate, the 120, 125, that's sort of the max of what a family unit would make, right? So
I
it
believe
makes
so,
more
yeah.
eligible.
Yeah, more individuals would be
Just to be
eligible.
clear, if anybody who's watching
Yeah.
may be interested. Thank you. Yes, Legislator Sassen.
Thank you. I'm just kind of curious, I mean, we've been very fortunate that enrollment has been increasing. If you and I think, Paul, on one of your previous screens, you don't have to go back, the revenue looked like was near $1 million we're taking in from students and tuition, 950,000.
Over and above what we had projected back.
Okay, oh, that was over and above the
Right.
950?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the 950 assumed, or excuse me, the budget assumed a 5% increase in enrollment.
Okay,
And we actually were closer to 8, 10, I forgot exactly.
million.
Uh,
So my point is,
We were 8.4 up in the fall semester, and we're around 9.1 in the spring semester.
okay, so 2% increase would be how much in revenue for the college?
1% of the tuition is about $200,000, so it's about 4.
It would help. I mean, I want to commend you, and I know the board of trustees that you squeeze every penny that you can at that college. And I appreciate it as an alumni of the college, but also as a lawmaker. A lot of schools are closing in New York State. New York State's losing population. People are leaving the country, the state in droves. The state is not helping you. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. But what you've done here is remarkable. It really is. Tom, you're not leaving the state, are you?
No.
Just over the edge.
Let's let it
No,
go.
no, that was his remark.
Oh, you're leaving. Okay,
I have a question.
yes, Legislator Stenega.
What are we doing to actually fight for the extra funding from the state? Because if you read the Post this morning, the Senate has proposed their own budget against the governor's, and they're looking at spending $80 to $100 million to help people with the pot and the marijuana. Where I don't understand why they wouldn't want to put the money into education, but maybe we're not getting the right people, or I'm not really sure. It kind of confuses me that, you know, that the money is there, they're proposing this money, but they're putting it in the wrong spot. So what are we doing to actually push for them to give the money to the students and the education?
Ready?
I'm
Here we
ready.
go.
I'm ready.
Got
We've
me
been doing
amped
this
up.
since January.
Yeah.
Well,
The trustees and the presidents combined on what we thought was a compelling 1-2 message. The trustees, first of all, outlined the inequity, so this $97 million, what it would take, right, for the stool to be put back in balance. The president's designed what we call the Empire State Workforce Guarantee, and that's what we were proposing. What we said is you've got 30 entities called community colleges that have the faculty expertise, the existing infrastructure, the know-how, and the will to amp up your New York workforce, right? We've got associate degrees, we've got certificates, we've got certifications that can put New York to work. So with that $97 million, we guaranteed 20,000 completers instantly within this fiscal year. And that's what we were selling. That we put ourselves out there as like, stop standing up centers, stop standing up all these other things. Let us do the work, we're here. And that message didn't
fell on deaf
follow.
ears.
It felt, well, didn't go all the way home. The one silver lining, I think it was it the Assembly did in their one House bill, it suggests that to look at a new funding formula language, to study new funding formula language. So let's see if that makes that all the way to the final, what I don't even know, it's called the budget bill at the end. But that suggests to me maybe they're hearing it because our message was the very things that you would like us to do are the most expensive things right now. And to the point about New York colleges closing, the piece, you know, talk about another stool, the English students, the history students that are less expensive to educate, we're out of balance right now. That structural deficit is coming about because nurses and dental hygienists and cybersecurity students, they're very expensive to educate. And they're showing up, and some of the students that used to be there are no longer there. And it's getting hard for us and our friendly neighbors at Dutchess and Rockland. Everything's getting out of whack right now. So we need a different sort of formula to do the work that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Just want to be cautious of time today. Thank you. Please continue.
I believe we're done.
Oh. Any other questions? We're done. Okay, wonderful. Thank you all very much for the hard
What
work.
with the committee? The advocacy thing.
Yep.
45.5% of SUNY students in New York are at community colleges. Almost half. But the funding we get, the SUNY 4 years get over 19,000 per student from the state, and we get about $5,500 per student.
That was kind of why I brought
It's
that up.
ridiculous. It's
So
ridiculous.
so the state's showing preference for your colleges.
Right.
That's an interesting statistic, and I hope you can drive that home.
Well, we've been
Trying.
We made sure everybody got that
Make sure you
advocacy
get
piece.
that flyer. Yep, thank you.
Thank you all very much. All righty.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Next up, we have Amanda Dana, Director of Tourism, for a quarterly update. Welcome, Amanda.
Having us.
Welcome.
Hello. Hello.
You have a presentation?
Congratulations.
All set.
A quick, colorful
Yeah,
presentation.
colorful and.
Tom likes the colorful
It's-
ones.
Looks like a church. Sure does.
Oh.
Hey, John.
We're there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No,
We'll do some questions and trivia. We'll try to, mix it up a little bit here, but thank you for having us. We haven't been here since December, but a lot's happened since December. I think Rich is gonna start moving the slides when she gets
I've
already
started.
Right from your phone?
I am. Yes,
Sorry.
we're high tech over here. I can't keep up. I can't keep up. So just a quick agenda. Welcome spring. We'll talk about some of the things we're planning for the spring and throughout the year. Marketing updates, travel shows, public relations initiatives, some of our events we're looking forward to, and film. Nora could not be here today. She was working on some, she's working on jail permits right now. The jail's been very busy with filming, and we'll talk more about that. Let's talk about spring a little bit. So first and foremost, who can tell me what flower that is?
Peonies.
Very good. You win a donut. Did you have a donut? No?
Yeah, it's already in.
Okay, you get to have two. But yeah, we're very excited about spring. I think spring's a little earlier this year than last year, so we're really looking forward to that. I'm gonna start off by saying we did an analysis or look back into last year's occupancy tax, and we beat it. So which we're very proud of, because two hotels for this in 2023 were taken offline for the most part. We didn't have, we thought that alone would be, detrimental to us. Probably we average about $100,000 to $200,000 a month each hotel in occupancy tax. And it turned out that we covered for that because of our increased ADRs, which are the daily rates, and our occupancy was up as well in 2023. So we ended up better than 2022, which we're always glad to see. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the trends going on in marketing. I mean, Rachel's going to come in more with her marketing update, but I'm going to talk a little bit about trends and social media and how important it is now to be really engaged in social media more than ever. Talking about AI a little bit, whether you're afraid of it or not, embraced it or not, AI is part of a lot of our marketing initiatives. Most people in marketing tend to use AI for some of their content. What percentage is that? I think it's something like tourism content, it must be like 40 or 50%. 40%? Yeah, are looking at AI, just not that it's going to ever take over for genuineness or originality, but it actually gives you some great data behind why AI comes out with what they come out with. So we can talk more about that. So in 2024, we'll be talking about Reels or short form videos, which we're getting really good at, thanks to Lisa right over there, because she's the queen of it. She does very well with that. But also because 77% of travelers now are using some form of social media to plan their vacations, plan their destinations, and that has a lot to do with our reels, and we're creating a lot of them. You're also going to hear about influencers and how important an influencer strategy is. A micro influencer, a macro influencer, a top talent, someone who has millions of followers, if we could ever afford that person to come here. But we'll talk through that. Some other things I want to talk through is that the tourism office is looking to do some changing in human capital, organizational charts. We realize that a lot of our positions are outdated, haven't been updated since the early 90s. And we are growing much faster than that. We're going to be taking some positions away and adding to them, hopefully, and we'll be working with human resources on that in 2024. I also want to talk through sports tourism. Sports tourism is very big in Orange County. We have a lot of properties that offer tournaments and bring in a lot of outside visitors here. We are considering talking and working with a company called Play Easy. Play Easy is a platform which aggregates all the tournament bids that are going on right now so that we can help our partners attract tournaments. We did something similar to this last year. We went to a conference called Teams. I think you might have heard of it. We went there and we tried to market Orange County as a place to host your tournaments. We were successful. So we are hoping to take this a little further and actually get our partners involved in this, and it's called Play Easy. And so we're just putting our toes in on that right now, but I think it's going to be a very good partner for us in this arena. We're going to talk a little bit about New York Stewart International, of course, Breeze Airline. We're very excited about them. We want them to increase their flights and their routes, but also we're working directly with Stewart to increase our marketing capacity. And talk a little bit about municipal tourism grants, which launched last month. If you guys saw the press releases on that, we already have 8 applications from municipalities for these tourism grants, which is a very good program. Okay, I think now, finally, I'll have Rachel do some marketing updates, but I just want to give you a snapshot of what we're looking at in 2024. Yes.
Based on your tourism grants, what's the total number, 4,999?
Yes, it is.
And very briefly, I just want to touch on the hotel portion. We're seeing a lot more hotels, or at least I am in Windsor. I think we have 2 or 3 being proposed. That's still coming, so we still have a need for hotels.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I share the news that's here?
Oh, sure.
That we just got the latest report for this February compared to last February for short-term rentals. And it has gone up 5%, the occupancy rate, and our ADR, our average daily rate, went from about 107 to 129. So that is awesome.
Especially this time of year.
Thank you.
Okay, so marketing, I'm going to see what this page is. So we're in the process of rebranding with Madden Media, and we're coming very close to the end, having a logo, tagline, color scheme. We're looking forward to launching this, the National Tourism and Travel Week, which is May 19th, the week of May 19th. So we'll definitely inform you guys as we have the launch planned and get you involved. Let's just see. So for digital marketing, which is not up on the screen, we use Google AdWords and digital display. And so kind of going along with what Amanda had said, using AI, we're now trying a new way of targeting a few of our campaigns. So we're incorporating AI into how we reach people and how, instead of just using demographics and their location, we're now using affinity segments, which is also, based on if you have a strong interest in hiking or agriculture, we're going to be targeting them, as well as using Google's AI. So we'll see how that works. For commercials, we have 2 commercials planned for this year. We're going to be doing it in spring, so that should be sometime soon. And then we are working on a brand new commercial, and we plan to have that for fall, and that will be on ABC and CBS. And last year was the first year that we did streaming services, and we saw really good results with that. So we are doing it again this year. And we actually have extended, so we're gonna be starting in April and going all the way through the end of the year. So that is awesome. We've also, as well, we've mentioned before, we're targeting Albany, in addition to the New York City metropolitan area. So we're also doing a streaming services campaign there as well. And then social media. So as Amanda mentioned, social media has become a large part of a well-balanced marketing campaign. We're just seeing, it was becoming bigger last year, but this year it's one of our primary focuses. As you can see in the report, last year we grew our Instagram audience by 49%. And this year, our goal is to, again, increase it by 50%. And based on our numbers so far, as you can see on the screen, it says that we have 9,000, pointing glasses.
9319.
Thank you. And since then, that was sometime last week that we did this. And since then, we've added over 150 new users. So that is an increase that we used to see in a month, and now we're seeing it in a week. So we're really anticipating a lot of growth here. And like Amanda said, this is something that when you're traveling, you first, in the beginning stages of planning, you're going to check out social media and get some ideas. So we are, like Amanda said, going to be working with macro influencers. Right now, we currently have a contract with Hudson Valley Happenings. They have over 250,000 people in their audience, and we've had some reels that have had over 100,000 views. The one that we referenced is Aspire, but since then we've had more, and so it is great just for more exposure for us. And then we're working with micro influencers because they help us reach niche markets such as hiking, our craft beverage trails, our family fun. So we're going to be that's going to be starting in April. Where you'll see that picking up. And then the same thing for Facebook. We did see an increase last year, and we are going to continue those campaigns, follow us campaigns, craft beverage, family fun. So that is, if you're not following us already, please do. And this winter, we've done a lot of trade shows. We have gone to, in January, we went to the Travel and Trade in New York City. We went to the Travel and Trade in Washington, D.C. We also went to the Philadelphia Flower Show, and Amanda attended the NISHDA Lobby Day in Albany. So those are kind of big events for us. We talk to thousands of people. We add hundreds of people to our mailing list. We give out goodies. You can see Lisa is standing there with a wheel, which we get a line. And other presenters have come to us and actually just gotten ideas of how to promote their counties or their regions.
The number one item is an umbrella, by the way.
So far, yes.
They will form a line for an umbrella. I've never seen anything like that.
They will do some shady things for an umbrella.
Oh, funny that.
And so just see if we have one
Rachel,
more.
I'm following you now, I just want to let you know.
Okay, good. Okay.
Make sure I go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna go into our followers and just double check everybody.
Make sure we're all on the list.
Okay.
the beginning.
Okay. Tom, I know we've talked about this.
I'm on.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
Get on it, Tom.
And so for video, we do have a video that we recently did for highlighting our unique lodging. We will continue, like I said, to do more filming this year. We're planning a 30-second commercial. And Lisa, can you hit play?
Another day is dawning, a new song on the air.
Oh, got it, delay.
A brand new hope is forming, adventure take me there. It's a new day for me. I feel it in my bones, I feel alive, I am set free. It's a new day for me. Nothing in this world will interfere. This is my year.
People you might recognize, we have a lot of
It's a new day for me. Nothing in this world will interfere. This is my year. Oh, this is my year. This is my year.
So that is much better quality if you go right onto our site to pull that up. It just, when you go two different platforms to buffer, it just, sorry
Thank
about
you,
that.
looks great.
But-
Looks really great.
But which makes me sad because we have a trailer to show you later and now I'm gonna say, oh no, I won't be coming through that well.
Okay.
Technology, okay.
It was very crisp, it was very beautiful, it's a very great transitions, you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I strongly encourage you to go on the website and look that up. So I redeem myself. Okay, so I want to talk about strategic partnerships. We came into the last couple of years saying we need to align ourselves with some of our tourism partners to really get better bang for our buck. I'll take the next slide if you don't mind. This is something Lisa put together. I wouldn't get on that plane. But Lisa seemed to have a sense of humor. So she said, yeah, a little bit. That was my flight coming in, last night, actually. That's what happened to me. So, but anyway, so this is Breeze, and we're so excited that Breeze is at Stewart and is operating very well, by the way. The loads are very high, and so we're really excited to be doing that. And we also are really engaged with Stewart, and some might say, when is it going to take off? It really is starting to. We're really working hard with them to encourage new routes, new air carriers. Okay, let's get off that slide. It's making me sick, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, so other strategic alignments and partnerships are with Woodbury Common. As you can see, that's a picture of the guest services area in the market hall. Has anyone seen that on there? It's like the guides go off the walls like hotcakes, as if like there's a Wonka bar in the middle of these things. So we're finding it hard to keep up with all the collateral putting in there. So we're going to be creating a sizzle piece, which is just basically a smaller version of our travel guide, which isn't as expensive to run and to distribute. So we're going to be putting that in there because it just really is going so quickly.
May I interrupt this? So with that
Go
piece.
back.
Okay.
Well,
with-
mental no, we won't do that again.
With this piece, so I've noticed, you used to go to the Woodbury Commons and you pick up the booklet, right? They no longer give the booklets out. Basically, they got the QR code, you use your phone to do that. That's reducing their costs for printing and so forth. Is that something we might want to consider here, or is it just too much information?
It is a great, it's a great point, but here's the thing about the market hall, where this is strategically placed, people are receptive to reading and looking at things and saying, I'm gonna have a meal, I'm gonna sit down, let me take some literature and read through this
Good
while
point,
I'm
yeah.
eating.
I agree.
So when I'm walking around Woodbury Common, I'm not wanting to go through a book, I'll look at my phone, but when you're sitting and you have a captive audience, this is the only time we can get away with the literature, and they do take it and they love it, but that's a really good point.
Both good points, because I'll tell you, when I've been there, you're right, they fly off
Yeah.
the shelf.
So we'll have a more economical travel guide just for these types of situations where they're just going so quickly. Okay, so we'll go to the scary plane next. Okay, so Play Airline, this is also, we're working with their marketing team and we're going to be doing a UK influencer fam tour. We're really looking forward to doing that. They are performing very well, folks. So they are excited to be working with us. So we'll be working with them as well. Oh, I can't look at that anymore. Okay, so just to go through a little bit, we are still working very closely with Legoland New York. Fun fact is they'll have a gondola this summer, which is great. It's a very large park, and the gondola ride is great, but it also gets someone from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, and it's actually, they listened to the comments and they responded. So that was great there. So we'll be working with them on some social media campaigns. Up there also is Nicea. Nicea is our tourism industry partners for the state of New York, and we'll be working with them to provide some additional areas that our guides will be distributed. So they're helping us with that and some co-ops with advertising. The other situation I want to point out is that not on the slide, but it's an International Association of Cable Bridges Conference. Last year, we had a representative call us and saying that they wanted to be in Orange County, possibly, or Rockland or Westchester for this conference. And we jumped on it last year and we're like, please consider, West Point Fair, Bear Mountain. The Abbey Inn was also in consideration in Peekskill. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's very nice. But we did win the bid, and they're coming here this year, and the first week in October. That conference will be here. 250 to 260 international people coming here, and so we're working with them to help them form itineraries for people to stay here, stay a little longer. And it's midweek, so conferences are great because they're midweek, and it's not going to interrupt a football game or anything, God forbid. But it's going to be midweek, and we're looking forward to helping them. We already helped them with a platform on their website to get people here, how they're going to get here, transportation options, and the like. So we're excited about that. All right. So our website is performing very well. As you remember, we had a monumental year last year. In the first week of December, we crossed over 1 million visitors to our website, which is the first time that's ever happened. And this year, we're on track to beat those numbers. If you can see from up there, those pointing arrows, of course, kind of hard not to look there. But we had record January, record February visits to our website. We're tracking about a 26% increase for the year on visitation to our website. So we're performing very well there. Just to talk a little bit about print media, we're very active in print media as well. We're waiting for our new branding campaign to do some more billboards in New Jersey. Once we do have our rebranding completed, we just recently finished the Hudson Valley Wine ad, and we also have a Dreams Getaway ad in their guide. And so those are just some of the things we're doing in print media. We're still in it, not as much as we used to be, but we're still in print media.
Can I just add that we are on the back cover of the Hudson Valley Wine Magazine? So we're gonna get a lot of exposure.
All right.
Thank you for that.
I'm just very proud of that.
I am.
Yes, I did. The team did that in-house. So public relations strategies, we still do a lot of public relations out of our office. It's very important to reach the media on trends in tourism, what we're doing, events in tourism. So in your report, you'll see some of the ones that we've been focusing on in January, February, and March. And we're pretty excited that the Brotherhood Winery will be a craft beverage spotlight in the public relations. Oh, that's fun. I always like to have blonde hair in those things, but I'll take it. But we are very busy in public relations. One of the things that happens when we push out those press releases that we get picked up by a podcast. We traveled there, it's called, and they called us to do a podcast, which I did that last week. And also Blaise Gomez, News 12, she wanted to do a meeting with myself and Maria Bruni from the Paramount Theater in Middletown. And so that was picked up from a press release. So we're excited about that. I also had an opportunity to speak at the Association of Towns Conference last month. I'm not sure if everyone been there, but took my class, thank you. So there's all that good stuff. So I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about data, and I will keep this moving. I know I'm getting the eyes, going down the road on this, but two things. Placer AI. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's in the report. Travel Trade and FAM Tours, we're working closely with our partners in Sullivan County to do a FAM tour, and that's something we're doing. I just didn't have a slide on it though, but thank you for pointing that out. I can talk more about that. Placer AI, we did a presentation probably last year on Placer AI, which basically looks at the demographics of people coming here, visitors coming here, and where they're coming from, and the routes they take to come here, which is also very important. So we said, let's do a quick study on one of our most recent events. So the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Goshen, we looked at that. We wanted to see, well, what did they get? They got about 7,000 people come to that parade, which we think is a very healthy number. And if you can see up there to the right, you might not be able to read that, but it shows where the people are going by percentage. And if you can see what percentage they're going. So if you look at that top one, it was a Kelly Jeans on the right
Kelly Jeans
side?
on the
Kelly
right.
Jeans. So 3.4% of the 7.5 thousand people went to Kelly Jeans. So if you want to prove a point of where people are going when they're coming to visit your area, look at that list and say, now some things up there you're like, wait a second, who's visiting that Orange County Government Center? But that's because they were parking there and walking into the parade. So that's where people are coming from. So it's a great tool because we can know that, one, we can talk to our businesses and say, look, because of these events, you know, you are getting a lot of foot traffic into your places. And it also shows where people are coming from. And if we know their routes and where they're coming from, we can target the marketing. So that's a good tool for us to be using. Anybody have any questions about this?
No, I like it. They
Yep.
got 260 people based on these stats.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we can do that for other events as well. Okay, so Rove is an important partner of ours too, because they look at the tourism economics, short-term rentals, hotel data, they aggregate it, and then we can use that information to work with budget and to see what types of hotel revenue we anticipate for the following year. So it's a good tool for us to use as well. All right. So Rachel was super excited to talk about events, so I'll let her.
I was gonna do it in an announcer's voice, but
No.
I'm just gonna show you guys in.
Oh, no.
No, you don't want me to. I was practicing earlier, next time. But we do have some awesome events coming up. We have the first ever Farm and Flea Home and Garden event at City Winery. That's this Saturday. Also this Saturday, Montgomery, the St. Patrick's Ramble. Easter egg hunt, we have the Hudson Valley Honor Flight. The Mission 32 is happening April 13th, which is actually a lot of fun going for the send-off and coming and when they come home. And then Earth Day at the wineries, and we have 5 wineries on the Shawangunk Wine Trail. So you should check it out. And
What about people want to get engaged in the Hudson Valley Honor Flight? They can call the tourism office?
get engaged? Oh, yeah, they can
Yeah.
reach out to us and
We're still looking for people.
for people, for
Yeah.
guardians
Yeah.
or people to go on.
Participate.
All right.
And now we're on to,
Now we're on film, I did give you like a precursor that the jail has just been very busy with film, and it's a great thing. A working jail to be a location for a film is not an easy thing to do, and they certainly have done that very well. They make it look easy. So just to give you tomorrow, Wednesday, actually, MGM will be filming for a couple of days at the jail. CNN was just there last week, and we are, really looking forward to others that might want to be there in the next couple of weeks. We do have a lot of calls coming in on that. All right, so I'll go. So we have a lot of film in progress, a lot of them who are looking for sound stages, securing those stages, and then finding locations within a 30-minute radius around those stages. This is just one example of a BET film, Queens of Christmas, that's going on right now, being filmed. So There She Goes is coming up by Mar Vista, and that they'll be securing a soundstage in Newburgh, and they'll be filming all over. I heard the town of Walk Hill is very popular for some of the locations for this film, and that'll be starting up in April. So we're really hoping FBI Most Wanted will be coming to the jail in a couple of weeks. They've shown some interest. A movie Block 28, we're also, I'm sure they'll be wanting to film the jail as well, but they'll also be in a stage, so. So I did talk about CNN. I can't talk about the actual name of the piece from CNN, but it's a very well-known in the news type of documentary, and keep your eyes open for that. Okay, so last year, you remember Pretty Little Liars by HBO? They started filming, stopped filming, and then they started again in December. So they finished up their filming in December. They're coming out this year. The Pretty Little Liars is coming out probably end of spring, early summer. And if you recognize the gentleman on the right, does anyone recognize him?
Yeah.
Coleman?
You're for Walking Dead.
Okay, so Coleman Domingo, and he was in many films. He was up for an Oscar this year. Rustin, I believe it was called. The name of the film is up for a lead Oscar. They filmed last year in Warwick, so at the Mid-Orange Correctional Facility. And this movie is called Sing Sing. And it portrays, Coleman Domingo is a theater person who is also incarcerated, and he is turning around the lives of these incarcerated folks. And this movie is said to be up for an Oscar as well. And that was filmed in Warwick. So I wanted to show you the trailer on this, and I don't have high hopes that we're gonna hear it the way it should be, but let's give it a shot.
To die, to sleep, to dream.
This is a clemency hearing for your conviction, 25 to life. Since you've been in custody, you've been involved in the theater program.
All right, gentlemen, let's go. It's been a program that was established to help people get more in touch with their feelings and truly get some rehabilitation.
I am Gladiator Goliath. I am Spartacus.
I'm Prince Hamlet of Denmark. And it's turned into something, I don't know, wonderful.
What part do you play?
From time to time, I do act, like we all do.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
We here to become human again and enjoy the things that is not in our reality.
I think you guys are becoming real with each other, vulnerable.
Listen, I already know what you're doing, know who you are, what you got, bro. What? You don't get to tell me what I need in prison. You don't get to do that. And don't bring me in no dark corners no more.
The world expects brothers like you and I to walk in with our heads held down. Nah, what you gotta walk in like a king. Everything is yours.
I'm defined now. Yeah, this is my theater.
Go to your most perfect spot. Do you hear anything? Are you with somebody? Are you outside? Hold that feeling.
You gotta admit that I murdered that Hamlet, bro. Shakespeare is in his grave right now. He rolled over. You did your thing, beloved.
So if you remember The Whale, A24, same production company, so they.
You gotta start bringing popcorn to these things.
Yeah, well.
She brought donuts.
So that's gonna be a good one. And here's a fun fact, a lot of the crew stayed in Holiday Inn Express in the town of Waco while they were filming here, and Coleman Domingo stayed in an Airbnb that was owned by Brian LaHinches, who owns the castle. So and they had their wrap party at a bowling alley in Middletown. Twin Spins, that's what they had. So these types of productions do come into our areas, they spend money in areas, so these are just a great testament to that. I think we just have a couple more slides and we're done. So last December, you might have known that we did a virtual fam tour for Orange County Film Office, and we've created a video which we are tweaking and we are going to be putting on our website very shortly. And it really went well. We really talked about all of our assets, testimonials from municipalities, from locations, and we're excited to put that on our site and show you the final version of that. Nora was on a farms on film. It was a great way to show farmers in the area how to get their farms on film. So she participated in that. Oh no, this one. So if you remember, Paramount was here a couple months ago filming this one, and News 12 did sneak it out that it is Smile 2. It is still here, by the way. I don't like scary movies, but not her face, but I would say they're here and they are absolutely using our stages and also using our locations, but that'll be out next year as well. Anybody like scary movies here? Yeah? Did you see Smile 1?
No.
You did? Yeah, I couldn't watch that one. But they're here, so they like Orange County for that. So that's it on film. And that's it.
Quick question, that hiatus they had on the filming, was that due to the strike?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
I just want to make sure that that was the
Yeah.
reason, not something else.
They were not cleaning it up until September.
Yeah. It's almost 3.
My brother-in-law went back.
One last thing, the below the line boot camp will be starting at the end of April. And that'll be taking in largely underserved, and be working with them to put them right on the sets. as soon as they're done.
Amanda, I'm curious, obviously, we've seen film here in Orange County, it's become bigger and bigger and just keeps growing. What does the film industry need to supplement it?
I would say more stages. Keep the film tax credit going. That's what evens the playing field for us.
I'm sorry, in terms of economic growth in our area and other businesses that could benefit from the film industry being here.
Yeah. Oh, so, well, if,
Hotels, shop, whatever,
yeah, I mean, what's great is that we really do get our businesses engaged, because they will need all of that. A lot of our productions will give us a list of what they need. We need to rent this, we need to go here, we need carpenters here, we need sanitation, we need cleaners, and we do our best to have resources on our website and just flood them with those resources, so.
Equipment rentals, things that, there's a large and broad
Yeah.
amount of.
United Rentals does well,
Do they? Okay,
does very well.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Sanitation companies do very well, caterers do very well, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. And so patiently waiting. This is a first appearance here for Todd Hewlett, the Executive Director of the Orange County Arts Council. And Todd's going to give us an overview of the 2024 initiative programs for the Arts Council. Welcome. Floor is yours. Please tell us a little bit about what the Arts Council does, your role, and where we are engaged in the county.
Thank you. I prepared a 3-hour presentation. No, actually, I actually intend to keep my remarks brief today. And what I've brought for you is a short one-pager that is just as quickly as I can get through everything that we do. And then if there's anything that comes up in our quick conversation today, I'd be happy to come back and share more. But today I wanted to just give you a high-level overview of all of the things that the Arts Council is doing. Sarah McKay was our former executive director, and I have taken over from her that role in December of 22. So it's just been about a year and a half now. And a lot of the things that I noticed when I first stepped in was that we as the Arts Council were doing a lot of good to try and expand who we served. But in the efforts to do that, we also got in the way of a lot of people doing the work that they're doing. So my goal when I came in was to pull away from some of our programming that was kind of going further into the community and allow people who are already in the community to do their work and step back and do more support services. So here's the you guys all have these already. Did you all receive them?
Everybody have this? Part of your pack? Kelly just handed it
I
out,
printed
right?
it way too many, so.
Everybody's done. It's at the back.
Here's a few more, if anybody wants.
Thank you. We do have an email newsletter. I hope that you are all on there. We send out 2 emails a week. One is on Tuesday to tell people what to do in our county. Join us for all these events, all these great things happening on Tuesdays, and then Friday is the news from the council. If you have anything you'd like to include there as well, we'd be happy to include you. Our current numbers are about 4,000 people on that email list, and our click rate is about 36%. So we're proud of those numbers. We've updated our membership so that we now have a free option, but we also completely revamped what it is that we offer so people can borrow equipment from us, especially to support those new emerging artists. We also have administrative support. We have healthcare that we can add on, grant support, grant writing support, consultations for business models, etc. We have improved our grant opportunities. We now have 2 grants that we are offering: the Sustainable Arts Program and the Sustainable Arts Program Grants, which we just have announced our 2024 cohort, which will be our pilot program, our pilot year. Essentially, they will be going through a series of business school. It's a very quick 7-week business school for them to learn how to make sure that the work that they're doing is sustainable so that they can support other organizations. They can continue year after year to be a part of that. They will receive grant funding at the end of that program, as well as then have 2 more years once they've been accepted into the program to receive additional funding. We then also have our featured artist grants, which is it's a new strategy. I don't know if any of you have been to our art affair, but it is a wild event. We like to claim that it's the biggest party in the county. And we do that in November, which now we've changed the way that we are bringing in artists to be a part of that, to kind of empower them to have a little bit more say in what art they choose to do. So that commission will be presented at our art affair in November. We also serve as a conduit to make sure that organizations can do their work. So we have helped to fund the Below the Line Boot Camp, which was just mentioned. Cornwall Arts Collective, Veterans Repertory Theater, Newburgh Bike Rack projects were all projects that we helped to support and helped with securing some financial support to make those events happen. And then some news from us as well. We are also working on refreshing our brand. So please, this may be the last time you see this logo. So enjoy it while it's there. We're very excited. We've been partnering with some really incredible designers to come up with a refresh for us so that we feel like we're both updated, but also competing with a lot of the organizations who are doing similar work across the globe. And we want to make sure that we set ourselves up to not only be a world-class arts organization, but also that we look like one.
Can't tell if that's Fingerprint or Van Gogh.
Great. We'll just toss it all aside anyway. Some events that I hope you will put on your calendars. On May 14th, we have our Creative Impact Conference. Creative Impact Conference now has been in existence for about 6 years, but we have expanded it last year so that it's a full-day conference to talk specifically to businesses and those interested in our economy. We are, instead of it just being a artist-driven event, it's actually a business-driven event where we bring in presenters to talk about how arts and creative practice can help their bottom line, help them find more employees, help them have a better year. And we had really great success with it last year. We had about 120 people who attended. We anticipate this year having about 200. And we will be hosting that this year also with Arts Mid-Hudson. So it'll be a tri-county event that we are hosting, and that will be at Storm King Arts Center. So it's a really beautiful place to spend the day for anybody. Even if you decide to go wander instead of listening, you can still enjoy your day, but I do hope you'll join us for that. September 1st, we have a new event called OC Live, and that day will be a big art fair. And again, one of the things that we're doing is we're pulling away from doing these like small events and trying to focus on things that really provide impact. So this is an opportunity for anyone in the county, regardless of where they're at, to have an opportunity to present. So if you've got a nephew with a garage band, or you are making bracelets in your basement, or you are creating fine art and photography and you want to have a place to present that, our goal here is to provide a resource for people to kind of start to get their name out and to be presented alongside others who are doing the work and really professionals, so that we can all uplift them. and make them successful. November 16th is our art affair. As we already mentioned, it is our largest fundraiser of the year. It's always a real fun party. So I hope that you can join us for that.
What's the theme this year?
I can't answer that
No.
question. You know I can't answer that question yet. Last year our theme was Wonderland. The year before it was Ignite. So it's fire themed. And this year we do have an exciting theme coming, but Jen would be so mad at me if I
Okay.
told you, so.
My costume.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people dress up. It's a really fun event. Strategic planning wise, some places that we're kind of headed now. We have expanded our support for arts, expanded our support for arts success. There we go. With fewer of these events that we have to plan and execute, we've been able to spend more of our time removing barriers, connecting people, and one of those things that I'll talk about here in a second is kind of doing some engagement outside of our county. One of the things that we were talking about recently is partnering with the Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center, who's looking for programming to connect with Legoland, so that when Legoland folks are coming and they're here, we can get them to stay an extra day by providing family targeted theater programs at the Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center, because that proximity is so close. So this weekend I was in Atlanta, Georgia, working to talk with some of those folks who do the licensing, and they're the agents for these national tours of family programming, so we can hopefully get some of them here to kind of tie all that together. It should be a great opportunity for a lot of folks here. So expanding support success, it's that connecting, it's consulting and removing those barriers. That continues to be a main strategy for what we do. Countywide, we want to be the ones who kind of know what's going on, not so that we can have our say and choose what we want to do, but so that when people come to us and they want to know, well, I want to start this theater. It seems to be the thing people are really talking about right now. I want to start a theater. We can say, okay, do you know what other theaters already exist and why they're working or why they're not working? So we can kind of help to guide those folks so that they can be successful in their work as well. We are now talking with SUNY Orange as well as Orange County Partnership to try and attract more arts manufacturers. Our arts manufacturers in our area, within our county, bring in hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue into our county every year. So one of the things that we are working on actively with as a large strategy is to go and do some more research, as well as to promote the work of those and the success of those businesses to bring in more business who are interested in doing similar work. We are also then needing to make sure that we have a workforce that can meet those needs. So we have partnered with the SUNY Orange, with John at SUNY Orange, as well as with some of the arts manufacturers who are already here to continue to develop programs that will allow for better workforce development so that we can meet the needs of those businesses that are both here and those who may come in the future. Yeah.
Excuse me for a second. So that manufacturing portion, it's like what, like the Oscars, like Talix and Polish or Works?
Yeah, so
similar.
Yep, we have 13 businesses in this county who do arts manufacturing. UAP, formerly in the Polish Talix area, in that Polish Talix building, they're the ones that create the Oscars, as you mentioned. They are doing nearly $100 million of work there in that area. We also have PRG. PRG produces more than 50% of the Broadway sets. They also do stadium tours. They worked with Madonna. They worked with Lady Gaga, Pink, Coldplay to create their sets. They're here in our county building those things.
Cigar still there?
Sorry?
Cigar Box still there?
I don't know about Cigar Box. Are they still here? Because I'm gonna find out.
They started off over in Cornwall, and then they moved, and then they were down by Pamela's on the Hudson.
I'm making a note because I'm gonna find out if they're
I
here.
know there's a group that took over the building down by the River Road down in Cornwall that was looking at still doing some of this.
So
So
I
there's,
know that because my brother does all that, that's where he started.
Oh,
He's on
so-
the stage and stuff.
okay, so Scenic Arts is down there in that Cornwall
Scenic
space now?
Arts is another
Yep.
one of them.
And they're certainly ones on our list. And our next step there is gonna be to go into those spaces and kind of get a real sense of what their needs are, what's successful for them, why Orange County continues to be a good choice for them, so that we can go out and promote that and get more of those businesses here in our area.
And PRG started kind of small, and I believe they were in Cornwall.
They were in Cornwall also,
They were in
yeah.
They're across the street from my office in Windsor.
Oh, yeah, they are
And they
now.
took over the entire, what used to be Insulpane glass manufacturing building. And they're just burgeoning.
Yeah.
Brian?
What's that?
Is that Brian?
Brian one.
Wolf?
No,
No.
I know he does stuff with that. Does a lot of things for like Broadway shows.
yes, Brian is working for, is he a costume armor? Is that-
Yes.
Yes,
Costume
costume
armor,
armor.
right.
Sorry, that's.
They were in
Yeah.
Cornwall.
Yep.
Cornwall too.
Yeah.
Same building.
Yeah, so you see, we already have this cluster happening, that Cornwall Newburgh corridor. Then there's 3 organizations that are actually down in the Warwick area who are doing similar work. So as we continue to develop that strategy and we can bring in more businesses who are doing those things. And I will say the other thing that's great about it is those are high paying jobs. Yes, they're manufacturing jobs, but they're not the traditional manufacturing jobs, which is part of why SUNY is looking at getting that information out sooner rather than later, so that we can really bring some of the statistics of the arts manufacturing paired with the other manufacturing jobs, which helps to give people an example of like where you can go with these works, right? You're not just there to weld the same bolt to the same thing every day. That's not what manufacturing actually is. There's lots of opportunity in manufacturing to create sculpture, to create buildings, create beautiful architecture. And so we're trying to really draw attention to that. And the other thing that's great about it, in addition to those high paying jobs, is that it doesn't require, because the nature of arts manufacturing doesn't have the same turnaround rate, it doesn't have the same output rate that a lot of other ones do. It allows us to put some manufacturing jobs into communities that have issues with traffic. So you don't have to be right by the freeway. You can actually be on a highway because there's not as much coming in and out as there is with some of those other manufacturing jobs. So it's a great way to continue to develop our local economy and bring in more jobs for our community. The last one I put on here, as I mentioned briefly, is that we have started a strategic plan to engage without for opportunity within. So we've been talking about how we can get more folks from the city to be talking about arts here, what resources we as a community can promote to them so that they realize the opportunity that we have. So we've been talking to some galleries in the city who like to do, we all know that Storm King is here. And the reason Storm King is here is because, and Dia Beacon is another great example. They are companies who wanted to have space and they wanted to be connected to that New York City market, but couldn't do that work directly in the city. So they found space here. So we're looking at helping some of the other galleries, not necessarily, although it may work out this way, look for permanent homes, but rather utilizing the resources that we have here of space, of land, of nature, to bring some of that opportunity here. One of the great examples is a music group that's creating this unique music specifically for farmland. They have to be in farmland for this music to work. And they're in the city. I'm like, well, why are you doing this in the city? So we're working with them to see if they can bring some of their work up here and in part draw attention to their local community down there to give them more and more reason to come join us up here in Orange County. Spend their money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And for those of you, I met Todd previously on several different occasions and thought this would be really appropriate to bring to E&A since they are part of what we do, and believe you receive money from the county as well.
Yes, we do.
So does anybody have any questions? Comments? No? Awesome.
Great.
Thank you very much for being here today. And with that, I will take motion to adjourn. Lujan, and thank you so much.